Let's go back to President Obama's State of the Union. Here he talks about his counterterrorism strategy.
Aggressively pursue terrorist networks through more targeted efforts and by building the capacity of our foreign partners. America must move off a permanent war footing. That's why I've imposed prudent limits on the use of drones. For we will not be safer if people abroad believe we strike within their countries without regard for the consequence. That's why, working with this Congress, I will reform our surveillance programs, because the vital work of our intelligence community depends on public confidence, here and abroad, that privacy of ordinary people is not being violated. And with the Afghan war ending, this needs to be the year Congress lifts the remaining restrictions on detainee transfers and we close the prison at Guantanamo Bay. Because we counter terrorism not just through intelligence and military actions, but by remaining true to our constitutional ideals and setting an example for the rest of the world.
Jeremy Scahill, your response.
Well, on this issue of Obama and Guantanamo, I mean, he gets hit a lot from the left in the United States for the failure to close Guantanamo, and part of it is I think a little bit disingenuous. On the one hand, I think Obama has not fought hard enough to close Guantanamo. He hasn't used his political capital in any prioritized way to make that happen, and there are ways that he could have done it. But the Republicans and some Democrats have long been blocking the funding. But the fact is that we had several dozen prisoners who had been cleared for release from Guantanamo on a hunger strike. And the president basically stood idly by while these individuals were being very brutally force-fed. I mean, you can go online and see the hip-hop artist Mos Def being force-fed. He couldn't take more than a few seconds of the tube going through his nose. And I think if I encourage people to watch that to get a sense of what it means when we're talking about the force-feeding of prisoners at Guantanamo. So, on the one hand, Obama has failed to close it. On the other hand, the Republicans have really obstructed it. And I think at the end of the day, it's a combination of those two factors that lead to that. On this issue of the drones and the permanent war footing, I mean, Obama has been the drone president. And his line with liberals is sort of, trust me, I know what I'm doing, I'm monitoring this, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that civilians aren't killed. But time and time again, we see incidents where large numbers of civilians are being killed, and there seems to be no public accounting for how this happened. They say that they investigate when civilians are killed. And yet we are now 2 years almost removed from the killing of the 16-year-old kid, Abdulrahman al-Laki, who appears to have been killed because of who his father was killed in a drone strike while having dinner with his teenage cousin and some other young people from their tribe while they were sitting down for dinner, killed in a drone strike.
2 weeks
after his father had been killed. Now, his father's a separate issue, and I think it was extraordinary that Obama sentenced an American citizen to death without even charging him with a crime related to terrorism and served as the prosecutor, judge, jury, and executioner. But that's a separate issue from this kid. What was his crime that he committed other than sitting there having dinner with his cousin and other teenagers? The White House told me that when that they review all cases when civilians are killed. Where is that review? I've asked for it, and the White House said they won't confirm or deny that there has been a review of that case. So there are a lot of unanswered questions here. And on the NSA issue, I mean, the panel that was empowered to investigate this was a setup from the beginning. It was largely made up of intelligence industry people, part of the intelligence or spying industrial complex, and the end results of it are going to be largely a whitewashing of these operations. And the Republicans want Obama to go further than the NSA is already going. So the parameters of the debate in Washington are: should we figure out a way to streamline this and sell it to the American people, or should we do more surveillance, which is what a lot of the Republicans want?
On the issue of the NSA, on this issue that's being debated even within the White House, the Attorney General Eric Holder, this question of whether Edward Snowden